This is a story of a meeting where something actually got done. It began with the seed of an idea and a meeting that started on time. Designs were shared. Thoughts were exchanged. Inspiration found. Improvements made. And the meeting even ended on time. Imagine that. Quick starts, instant sharing, crystal clear collaboration. The all-new, all-in-one Lenovo ThinkSmart Hub 500 and Skype for Business.
PKPB akan digantikan dengan Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan Pemulihan atau PKPP yang akan bermula pada 10 Jun 2020 hinggalah 31 Ogos 2020. Dalam tempoh PKPP ini, lebih banyak kelonggaran diberikan kepada saudara-saudari untuk menjalani aktiviti kehidupan seharian di samping mematuhi SOP secara berterusan. Sehubungan dengan pelaksanaan PKPP ini, saya menyeru saudara dan saudari semua untuk pakai aplikasi My Sejahtera yang telah dibangunkan oleh kerajaan untuk membolehkan saudara-saudari melaksanakan penilaian kesihatan kendiri. Aplikasi ini juga akan membolehkan Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia mengambil tindakan yang cepat, tepat dan berkesan untuk mengenal pasti dan memaklumkan kontak rapat sekiranya berlaku kes jangkitan COVID-19 dalam masyarakat kita.
Salam everyone. Good morning to all of you. It gives us a great pleasure to welcome you to the first virtual event hosted by the National Cybersecurity Agency NACSA, an agency under the National Security Council in cooperation with Alpine Integrated Solutions Sdn Bhd, organizer of CyDesk 2021. This virtual event is sponsored by Lenovo, and this event is only by invited guests only. I am BK Soon, your moderator for this event. CyDesk is a national event. It's the world's first integrated cyber defense, cybersecurity, and emerging technology event for the global community. Unfortunately, due to current crisis, this event has been deferred to next year, June. As such, for the rest of the year 2020, NACSA and their event partner Alpine will be collaborating to roll out a series of virtual events. And this virtual event today is the first in the series of 20 to 30 events which coming. So the current team is also working on the delivery a hybrid version of CyDesk 2021, meaning there will be a live event as well as a virtual exhibition integrated together in order to cater for foreign company or visitor who may not able to be physically come into Malaysia. So for information, the event today will be recorded and we will share with you the video and presentation deck after this event. If you have any question or you would like to give us any feedback or recommendation, you may send us your message through the Q&A box on your screen. We understand that we have a huge number of government ICT security officers are now actually on the line with us, and everyone is so excited to contribute to this event. But due to the limited time frame, we may not able to answer all the questions. We appreciate if you can pen down your name and your email along with your question or feedback, or even your recommendation, so that we can get back to you. On today's agenda, we'll begin with the opening remark by the Chief Executive of NACSA, Ahmad Shah Nuri bin Mazain, and continue with our three expert presentation. Each of them will be given 10 minutes, then follow with a Q&A section. And at the end of this event, we will pose a question for you to answer. But the good news is, the best two answer of this question will be rewarded a brand new Lenovo ThinkPad L490. It's an Intel i5, 8GB RAM, 256GB SSD dry laptop with a retail price of Malaysia ringgit 3,500 each. So stay tuned with us until the very end. So let's begin now. Yang Bosa IR Encik Mak Syah Nuri bin Mak Zain, Chief Executive of NACSA. Yang Bosa Puan Nur Hidayah binti Abdullah, ICT Consultant of Mampu. Yang Bosa Encik Hamid bin Muhammad, Director of Cyber Security Technology Division of NACSA. Mr. Chris Tan, Client Technologies for Lenovo Central Asia Pacific, all the way live from Singapore. Hi, Chris. And it is important, most important to all of us here is you, our participant right now, actually currently physically in NACSA office, and all the online active participants from all around Malaysia. So our topic for this event is empowering your remote workforce, the right security culture for bring your own device, BYOD. As you all know, due to COVID-19, most of us had to work from home, and many of our colleagues were using their personal mobile devices or their personal computers to conduct official businesses. So for activity like downloading, reading work-related documents, email, even storing work data on personal device. So how can we ensure that and protect our closed source of classified information, and at the same time, we would like to take this opportunity to rethink our habits on overtaking advantage of the convenience and speed provided by the latest technology. So without further ado, it is my honor now to call upon our host for today, Encik Mak Shah, Chief Executive of NACSA, to deliver his opening remark. Sir, please.
Thank you, BK. And Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and very good morning to everyone. First and foremost, I would like to welcome all of you in this virtual forum. And I would like to wish you Selamat Hari Raya to everyone. And this is the first event that we planned, as mentioned by BK just now. So we're going to have a series of events after this. So again, welcome. I appreciate your attendance in this virtual event. We hope it is effective. And we welcome your views and ideas for us to carry out this type of event in future. So maybe you have in mind, why do we do this now? Why not? Why now? So and why this topic? So just as BK mentioned just now, that we plan to organize CIDES, Cyber Defense and Security Exhibition and Conference, which we plan to do it this month in Langkawi. And concurrent with this event, we would like to have the first government ICT-SO conference. So that's what we want to do, we plan to do. But because of this pandemic, we need to postpone and reschedule our event, as mentioned by BK just now, that we plan to do it second quarter of next year. Depend on approval by the government anyway. So now, after the pandemic now is slowing down, so we start reschedule our activities. So we start it today. So, and also, maybe some of you heard about Malaysia's cybersecurity strategy, which we plan to launch it in March this year. but we couldn't do it as well. So this event, a series of event, is a road to MCSS and SIDES. So during this period of time, many people work from home, and that requires us employees end up bringing up their device at home, or bring up their office device home. So that is one of the factors that may lead to data leakage or our data stolen. But we have been doing this bring your own device practice for years. In fact, we have discussed this for years. I think early in 2000, we have started discussing about this. But for now, there's no specific policy or guidelines on this. Certain department already have, they develop on their own. Certain state might have. But at national level, we don't have such a policy or guidelines yet. What we have been discussing is the balance between productivity, effectiveness, cost, and security. So we have been debating about this. And this has become the culture. We use our laptops, handphones for our office use. Become a daily practice. It's comfortable. We're satisfied with that. And in fact, it is effective for the department. But what about security? We've been using these facilities, using a private Wi-Fi, using them abroad, at airport, restaurant, etc. We've been using apps as well in our device to facilitate us, to make us easy to carry out our job. We mix between personal and official data. Again, the security. So how to enforce this? How are you going to do this? Issue of cost, budget. I think these are the main issues. So again, there's no policy yet, but this is a priority for us now, to come up with policy and guidelines for us to carry out our duty, our task effectively by using our own device or this mobile device. So again, the question is, why now? During this COVID period of time, we noticed that there's an increase of cyber incidents, specifically malware infection and advanced persistent threats. It's targeted on our agency, on government agencies. So there's a lot of data theft, information leakage, maybe because not only on the work from home issues, but people take this opportunity. People take this opportunity not only in our country, globally. It increased in this type of incidents. So from the statistic that capture from OneGov.UC, there are thousands of APT attack that we capture from email phishing. It's targeted on agencies, certain agencies, thousands of trial that we capture. But that one is the government agencies that subscribe with OneGov.UC. What about others that do not subscribe to these facilities? So that's why this is become important to us. That's why we discuss about this today. So related to that as well, Cabinet in, I think in April and May, continuously discuss about information leakage in the government agencies. So we have an initial series of discussion between NACSA, MAMPU, CGSO to come up with a mechanism. We have a various phases. We discuss with JPA as well. So soon we'll come up with a mechanism or guidelines in this area. So now, with this going on, issue of bring your own device, BYOD, what we are going to do now? So we want to strike a balance between the device control and data protection. We leverage mobility to build an autonomous workforce. We need to have a governance behavior in mobile environment. We need to build security in mobile security. MDM, which is part of BYOD policy. We need to have security protection at endpoints, such as protection against malware, application of whitelisting control maybe, host-based firewalls and device encryption tools on any device being used for work purposes. So ladies and gentlemen, we may also need to consider to utilize our government cloud, storing of our confidential information. So going towards this government initiative in digital economy, public sector digitalization, e-commerce, 5G, etc., cybersecurity will become more challenging. Data protection will be a key issue. So we have a series of discussion and engagement with all ICT experts in the government to deliberate further and come up with a proper cybersecurity initiatives and actionable plan, practical and actionable plan. We have to look to these three areas: people, process, and technology. Increase knowledge of expertise, awareness, formulate actionable plans and guidelines, use appropriate technology. So, as a conclusion, now that we moving forward again, as we plan, we need to have a series of engagement and discussion between national level, at our level, and yours. We want to understand you. We want to hear from you. What is your limitation, your challenge in compliance, get out compliance to our guidelines and policy. We will evaluate your feedbacks and improve the guidelines. We want to hear your issues, budget, resources, expertise, knowledge. So we want to come up with an action, as I mentioned, actionable, practical policies and guidelines. So, ladies and gentlemen, please come forward. I know there's expertise out there. We are expert in certain area. So come together with us. We want to work as a team to secure our cyberspace. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Encik Maksha. That is very comprehensive. And most importantly, that like what Encik Maksha just saying that we are look at the strategy, the operational, the tactical, and also the technical skill set. So please come forward to NACSA. And now, Encik Hami, are you ready? Okay, Encik Hami, over to you.
Thank you, BK. Assalamualaikum and very good morning, everyone. As mentioned by IR Mat Shah just now, BYOD is not new to most organizations, and in fact, BYOD has been implemented in probably in smaller scales in most organizations to cater for a select few. However, COVID-19 pandemic has demanded organizations to allow their workforce to work from home, and therefore they need to open up their systems for people working from home and allow BYOD for more people than what has been planned before this. This has put some strains on organizations that were not originally prepared for a lot of personal devices to come into their internal systems and access organization important information. The fact that people are at home doing most of their interactions with the rest of the world using the internet and not using the secure network at the office presents opportunities for cyber criminals to take advantage. As employees work in unfamiliar situations and become stressed and tired, their vulnerability to malwares and cyber threats increases. They fall for scams and phishing attempts more easily, putting organizations at greater risk. Please bear in mind that 98% of cyber attacks involve some form of social engineering. In the next few slides, I will be sharing 5 issues that could happen if organizations are not prepared, as well as 4 actions that organizations could take to prepare themselves. Right. Right. BYOD, is it bring your own disaster? Right. I mentioned that I'll be sharing five issues that could happen to organizations when they implement BYOD or bring your own device. The first issue being personal data protection compliance. Organizations will need to ensure that personal devices will not break any compliance requirements when it comes to the Personal Data Protection Act 2010. Organizations will need to make sure that personal devices have the same level of security measures that is required by PDPA when handling personal identifiable information or PII. The second issue would be malicious apps. User-owned devices are vulnerable to malware and malicious apps. Earlier this year, Google has removed 1,700 applications infected with Joker Android malware from Google Play Store. This is not the first time that Google have done this, and this will also not be the last for them. When employees download malicious apps on their mobile phones, they present outsiders unauthorized access to critical organization data. It is difficult to impose security software and add updates and patches on these user-owned devices. Sometimes I don't update my own personal device. The third issue will be loss of stolen devices. Being of small form factor, and also because they are carried around by users, mobile devices can easily be lost. When these devices that are registered with BYOD network are lost or stolen, sensitive organization data can fall into the hands of an outsider. So you need to remind your workforce that they need to be careful about their devices. The fourth issue is hacking issues. Protecting user-owned devices from hacking attacks is a big challenge for organizations. When a device is hacked, it can be used to connect to corporate network to access business-critical information. In fact, there's a hacker attack every 39 seconds. The last or the fifth issue is about remove employees or retrench employees. During the current COVID-19 pandemic, a number of organizations have taken drastic measures to release some of their staff, creating unhappy and disappointed ex-employees. Another way in which corporate data or organization data become compromised is through disappointed or removed employees. Employees can retain a certain amount of data even after they leave an organization, and typically disgruntled employees will not inform their HR department about the data that resides in their own devices, and this the data that has been retained in the personal devices can easily be shared or leaked to other organizations. Right. So those are some 5 issues that organizations will need to look into. This slide is about the actions that organizations can take when implementing BYOD. The first action would be to limit the information shared by device. First, you need to look at how staff use personal devices. Because these are personal devices, they are sometimes used for easy sharing of data. So you need to look at how staff use social media, for example, FB, Twitter, and Instagram, and how organization data could easily be or inadvertently revealed in their social media accounts. Social media, personal devices sometimes automatically store backup data, for example, on iCloud or on user's PC. This is a risk that needs to be managed. We also need to encourage staff agreement in terms of they need to understand their responsibilities when using their personal devices. You could also consider technical controls, for example, the use of mobile device management or MDM that can help you remotely secure, manage, and support these personal devices. However, you need to be aware that if it's too restrictive, staff may find workarounds. You also need to consider and anticipate increased device support. This will include increase different skill sets. You need to make sure that you are aware of security incidences involving those devices, the new devices. Last but not least, you need to plan for security incidents. When an incident occurs, you should act immediately to limit losses. You should prevent the spread of any compromises and learn from this incident. BYOD is here to stay in the new normal. We need to be prepared. I hope these 5 issues and the 4 actions that I've shared with you today could shed some light and on what could be done as you prepare your own implementation of BYOD in your organization and help out the remote workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Encik Hamid. I appreciate so much for sharing and your efforts that you put on this presentation. I really like you mentioned about bring your own device into bring your own disaster. So I think people vulnerability is still the big issues. Awareness is something that we need to do a lot more from now on. And individual responsibility is also a big thing that we need to look into it. So next, we'll have our Puan from Mampu. Are you ready, Puan? Oh, okay. Can someone, okay, they will control for you, Puan. Puan, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. VK. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to share with you on our study we have done a study for BYOD implementation, bring your own device implementation, considering human and also security perspective in Malaysian government environment in 2018. And this morning I would like to share with you the findings that we have come up that we would like to share with the ICSO for the government agencies today. Basically, these are the outline that I'm going to share with you, the benefits of BYOD and also work from home. As all of us know that we are working from home. When we say working from home, we are working from home, yeah? Not working from a Starbucks and that sort of thing. Yeah. And also, what are the challenges of BYOD when we are working from home? Yeah. And also, what are the security culture being practiced nowadays for the government employees? And what are the recommendations that we have come out in 2018 for the study that I have done? Next. So as Mr. Hamid and also Encik Ahmad Shah have mentioned earlier, they have defined what we are meant by BYOD and also work from home. And in our study in 2018, basically, and also COVID nowadays has significantly affected the working from home strategies. And we have heard from Hamid just now, there are 5 strategies, if I'm not mistaken, for working from home that we need to adopt in our environment nowadays. But I would like to also highlight here that while some companies already had remote work opportunities in place for the government agency. We are in preparation for that policies, like mentioned earlier by Encik Ahmad Shah from NACSA. And working remotely has never been important than it is now. Yeah. And company across the globe are staying home and logging on to get their work done. And working from home is a new concept that allows employee to work remotely, especially from home, but not from any, or what do you call it, cafe or that sort of thing. Yeah. And to shift remote work, organization need to handling remote workers, and those are the risks that have been mentioned earlier by Mr. Hami, that there are security threats. There are malwares affected our own devices, and Mampu has been concerned about bring your own device, and also working with your own personal device, accessing government information from home. Yeah. So in around 2010, that involve a mobile technology, Mampu has come up with a draft policy on bring your own device, and it was still a draft. Yeah. And hopefully by this year we'll come up with a new template for bring your own device for Mampu, and it will be a guide for all government agency out there. Hopefully by implementing our data leakage data leakage protection project that we're going to kick off late June. We also come up with our own bring your own device policy, and we would like to share that with other agency as well later, with endorsement from NACSA. Yeah. Next. These are the benefits of bring your own device and also work from home that have been mentioned earlier by our speaker, Mr. Hami, and also by our so-called Cik Ahmad Shah just now. The increased productivities, employee satisfaction, that's the core, that the new gen, employee satisfaction for work from home, and also use your own device, not bring your own disaster. Yeah. And also it will increase innovation benefits. And I would like to highlight here is the time saving for the employees also. Yeah. And also performance enhancement. And BYOD benefits not only for the employees but also for the organization, but it needs to be managed in a systematic way, governed by policy, and also that the information is not, so that the information is not simply compromised by the device that was used by the employees. Next. These are the issues, the challenges of bring your own device that we have come out in 2018. For example, like has been mentioned earlier, loss of a device. When there are loss of device, of course, there's a loss of data, government data inside. And also malware, extension of working hours, and loss of information and data. Loss of information and data, that's why we come up with data leakage protection and also data leakage policy. Yeah. Because of lack of policy, and this is why there's a security threats for using your own device for government tasks. Yeah. And also there's a challenge for information leakage, especially for official security government information. Yeah. And bring your own implementation in Malaysian government agency has always been an issue. Yeah. And government initiative is to we need to put security controls in our information security policy. Every agency, they do have their own what do you call that, security policy for the agency concerns. But the issue here is most of the agency, they're not going for information management security certification. When you are not going for ISMS certification, there's a gap for compliance to your own security policy. Yeah, I believe each agency, they have put the bring your own device, so-called a general policy in their information security policy. Yeah, but complying to the policy itself is a challenge here. Yeah. Next. So these are the security culture that we have found out. One of it is the human factors, because there are what do you call that, employees that will leave their laptop or device, yeah, and when their car got what do you call that, the laptop got stolen and they will lost their information, the government information, yeah. And they also use random thumb drive that contain the secret information inside, yeah, the government information. And for the policy, yeah, we're yet to develop our cybersecurity policy for government and also for each agency. And we need to have a strong password for our laptop, yeah, and so forth. Next. And for the summary that we have found out in our finding and our study, these are the two important perspectives that you need to deal. One, like Marsha said earlier, we have to deal with people, technology, and process. Yeah, I do agree, because we need to deal with people. Yeah, people perspective is very important. The employees, we need to educate them. Yeah, we need to have management commitment, our stakeholders commitment, and the culture in the organization need to change. The process also need to change. Yeah. And for the technology part, it's the things that we as a technology, we are in control. Yeah, for the security perspective. But what worry me is the process part and also the people security. Yeah, those two areas we need to address if we are to achieve our BYOD and also our work from home policy. I think that's all that I have to share with you all guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Puan. Thank you very much for your sharing and also your valuable insight from Mampu. So, which just now Puan was mentioning, working from home. Please really work from home in a secure environment, because if you go to Starbucks, if you go to Coffee Bean or any of the outside environment, people like us in the industry for so long, we know something called man in the middle attack or man by side attack. So if you are targeted, you are basically, if you log into the public Wi-Fi, you are basically very, very vulnerable. So sometimes that we can do some malware injection. We also can actually put in some payload so that we can continue capture whatever you're doing. So please, if one, hopefully soon the national policy come out, we're going to do more on that. So thank you so much. So let's now shift our focus to the industry presentation. And our sponsor for this event, Renovo, I'm hereby inviting Mr. Chris Tan, who is joining us live from Singapore. Chris, are you ready?
Yes.
All right, Chris, please, over to you.
Thank you so much. Thanks, organizers. Thanks, speakers, Puan Hidayah, Encik Shah, Encik Hami. My privilege and honor to be here representing Lenovo, sharing my best industry knowledge across many countries, verticals such as architecture, engineering, construction, manufacturing, the finance, the media and entertainment, where they do large files, the movie makers.
Okay.
So, I'm going to share some of the best cyber security practices. Yep. So I only have 10 minutes, so let's get really straight to the essence of being the focus on security, on BYOD, and working from home as the new norm. Okay. Please open my slide, please. Yep. Yep. We can go to the next slide. Yep. Okay. I think we can go on to the next slide. Okay, so in a very simple diagram, before the COVID-19 hits us and working from home is a dream to come true for most people, especially in the government sector, where we're so used to commuting to work within that firewall. So this is before the COVID-19. As you can see, some of the technological terms like, for example, software as a service, which means your Microsoft 365, you will access it within the firewall. Only 13% actually access it outside the firewall because some organization has already practiced working from home. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. And as you can see, this is a very drastic change from the previous slide, right? You will realize that so many devices is actually accessing directly to the cloud. And with that, what do you mean? Okay, in a nutshell, you'll realize that traditional investment in top-end firewall security may no longer be that encompassing in terms of the of the security. And with that, organization really probably need to rethink on where they should protect their devices. Antiviruses still enough already? Yep. And as you can see, with things that fall out of the firewall, a lot of devices fall out of your security protection. Yep. Okay, so I think I don't think we can go back to the previous lifestyle that we used to live, because after this pandemic strike, the human race will always learn one thing after another, and we may want to adopt best practices moving forward. Okay, more to the next slide, please. Yep. Okay, I also want to share on some of the security breaches facts. This is dated in 2019. Okay, of course, we are working on the 2021 from the various third-party organization, from IDC, so on and so forth. I just want to highlight one point here is, basically we all know that there's increasing security breaches. The one point I want to bring across is 70% before this COVID-19 hits us happened already at the endpoint. Okay, so what does that mean? It means that 70% of the breaches happen at the endpoint. It's not exactly like in the movies where you see in, for example, Transformer movies, or for example, Mission Impossible, where you want to hack security, you need to go to the data center where you see a lot of rack and stack servers where people really need to go in, really need to be there and done that. But actually, that's not true. Most of the breaches happen at the endpoint before the COVID-19. So can you imagine from the previous slide that I shown, with all the devices falling out of the firewall, where should organization focus on their cybersecurity? Yeah. Yes, let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so with that, we really need to rethink about security, right? Lenovo always believe in that, and especially when the ever-changing landscape in our okay, sorry, the previous slide, please. The previous, yeah, correct, yeah. Security being the endpoint. Sorry, yeah, no, one more slide forward. This is the one. Yeah, correct. So, device security being as the endpoint of the new network. Yep. So the endpoint has become the main tool for your work. It has always been, and it will continue to be doing so. So with that, that should probably be your focus of your security. Okay, be at the endpoint. And with regards to that, people, all the organization we speak to, all the industry vertical that we work with, we also focus on not just on prevention, but also on detection and response. We need to get ready whenever bad things happen, so that as an organization, we can learn from it and we quickly move on. Okay, and that is not just that case that organization leaders need to think about. You need to think about your deployment. Just now, the previous speakers has already mentioned that a lot of times when we work from home, the working hours has extended. You may not want to work from 8 to 5 anymore. You may want to work probably on a different time zone, and some of the new millennials prefer to work at night. So with such culture taking place, organizations need to relook at how to deploy their fixes, because a lot of times we need to have a downtime, and that could be unproductivity and inconvenient for many of us. So with that, organization also should look to solution that allows for ease of deployment. Okay, so that you can get up to speed and you can be efficient. Next, we also need to talk about advanced technology. These days, there's a lot of AI and machine learning hardware type of security, which I'll touch base a little bit more as I go on in my next few slides. Yeah, please go to the next slide, please. sorry, should be I think one slide previous. No, previous slide, sorry. Previous. Yeah. It's okay. So my previous speakers has already mentioned a lot on this. Well, I just want to highlight the essence of the key bring your own device and working from home security concerns. Okay, working from home pushes activities outside your organization firewall. I covered on it. I think I cannot emphasize this more enough. So we need to relook how we want to protect and which area should we protect. Okay, not only that, we must not forget that not just on all the various BYOD Windows devices, there are many operating devices that management will also need to remotely be able to control them in a way. Organization need to relook onto providing that uptime. Okay, that's point number 3, which is the reason why we go to work, right? We need to make sure that the device is up. Bring your own device. If you do not have a proper UEM tool, you may have more downtime instead of uptime. So when you talk about downtime, it could be on application installation, it could be on hardware issues. So how are you going to fix this? Organizations really need to look into it so as to ensure optimum productivity. And also data management. I think this is the key. This has always been the key of the BYOD concerns that we have. Okay, employee attrition when they leave, how do we look after it? And stolen devices, how are you able to make sure that those critical data are being wiped off? Okay, and there are industry solutions that we work with, which I will share later on in my slide. And I also want to bring on the next point, which is on phishing. This is the biggest threat that we can see from the hackers, that they do not use brute force these days. These days they make use of your employee. Employee can be deliberate or undeliberate. They will be able to sort of open that kind of viruses or malware into an organization. So some of the best practices that I hear from my customers across the industry is I find it jovial. One of my customers shared with me that he got awarded with an hour of security training just because he saw a bonus letter from his HR department. But basically what the HR department did was they actually masked out some of the email addresses to trick the employee to open up those files. And when they double click on it, they actually reward themselves with an additional hour of training. I find that to be jovial and funny, but if you think of it, it's a very good way to emphasize on practicing good culture within an organization, so as to make every employee to bring your own diligence when you come to work. I think this is one of the key things we want to bring across today. And more importantly, as an organization, security breaches and response. The previous speaker, in Shah, has already mentioned there's a lot of increasing attacks. So organizations need to get ready. And how do we achieve that? Okay, let's move to my next slide, please. Yeah, okay. I want to spend a little bit time on antiviruses, because antiviruses is something very common in the past, in the 90s. Has always been an antivirus required. Okay, but I just want to share that traditional antivirus just only focus on prevention. Okay, and these days, a lot of managers start to look for the next generation antiviruses, which encompasses intelligence, prevention, predict, prevent, respond, and detect. Okay, and why do people go to the next generation antiviruses? Because of the ever-changing landscape from security attack. It can be from outside or it can be inside. When inside, it can be deliberate or indeliberate. As an organization, you need to be independent of your attacks. You have to be comprehensive in all angles, just so as to make sure that your organization is always being resilient to any types of attacks. Okay, so traditional antiviruses may not be relevant anymore. If you want to know more, I'll probably share with you at the end of my last slide. I will share with you some contact details. You can look for us for a close discussion. Okay, and I also wanted to share on the signature and non-signature base, because a lot of times there are a lot of attacks that in the past they use signature, meaning to say they have to be some form of a record on the databases of the antivirus. But if you do not keep the databases up to date, how are you going to capture the viruses? Okay, these days there's also a lot of movement towards signatureless behavior-based type of protection, which is also available in the new generation of antiviruses. okay, which actually step up against the zero-day attacks. What does zero-day mean? It will mean that viruses that just came out just on the same day itself, and they already started launching it for the attacks. Okay, and also in Lenovo, we believe and we offer our customers the ability to choose active endpoint detection and response, combining with the protection as a single agent to build up to the SOC. So for organizations that may not have an SOC, which stands for Security Operation Center, you can probably consider this solution. Okay, please go on to the next slide, please. Yeah, okay, I just want to share a little bit on the ThinkShield security offering by Lenovo. So basically, this slide, how to read it is from the bottom up. Okay, security by design is something which Lenovo has already been practicing for many years. So we believe that in the ThinkPad portfolio, the ThinkCenters, the ThinkStation, the commercial portfolio, the commercial servers, we believe that security is of the utmost importance. We design it by imbuing in our design blueprint. So with that, it does not just on the technology level, but more on the process. And whenever there are new threats out there, how is Lenovo able to respond? So we invest a lot of resources into that in the worldwide level. We work with a lot of third-party organizations just to make sure that the latest threats are being addressed and being published. We are open, we are fully transparent with our engagement. So you can easily Google that, okay, how Lenovo is investing our security. We call it the security leadership blueprint. Okay, next, we must not forget, security may be incumbent, it may be counterintuitive to your productivity, but how do we balance that? In Lenovo, we believe in delivering business value, believe in user productivity and uptime, your experiences, and we want to decrease your response time to downtime. Okay, that is the next layer, which is on the business value. And how do we achieve that is we constantly think of putting our design, and we are the industry leaders in innovating some of the even the off-shoulder viewing. So basically, we can detect people trying to view your screen over your shoulder, people over shoulder, and we will mask out the screen wherever people does that. And also, we have a electronic privacy filter. So as to, if you are working from the cafe, you don't wish to have your screen to be physically viewed by your neighbor beside you. Things like that. We have that technology to address it. Okay, and many of the security innovation, we are continuing going to push the boundary further. And I'm proud to say that there's a lot more innovation and to improve your productivity. Like in this year, 2020, we even have a modern standby available in all our products, giving you that kind of experience just like in your phone. Whenever you have you switch on your phone, you turn back on, then it's a matter of seconds, less than 2 seconds, you'll be able to get back to work. Things like this. Okay, and at the same time, don't compromise on your security. Okay, next, move on to the next slide, please.
Oh, okay. There's a one more slide from you, Chris. Okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to also share on manageability as well, because a lot of people forgot about this piece and they only look at or probably they will focus more on manageability, they neglect on the security piece. So in Lenovo Unified Workspace, we understand that in the very mixed operating system environment that the customer may have now, be it mobile OSs or personal computer OSs, we understand this, and we wanted to share that an organization really need to protect this layer. Okay, you should be able to manage your application to make sure the application is of the optimum level when you go to your every devices, just to make sure the uptime is there. And more importantly, when devices are lost or stolen, are you able to control your data from leaking out? Are you able to straight away, even though people hack into the operating system, are you able to quickly destroy the data, wherever the data that is available up there? And probably companies also need to have some form of a classification in terms of data sensitivity. You already have it. Okay, the senior executive, the senior VPs already should be classified as tier 1. And with that, there should be even additional more software that's allow you to sit in your BIOS level, that allows you to remotely wipe it off your devices whenever your device is stolen, or wherever you got hacked, you're able to quickly roll back and get up to speed. So things like this do speak to us. We as a device provider, as the leader in this space, we have a lot of technological partners that we work with, the software partners, the industry players that we speak to, so we'll be able to best recommend the solution that
Thank
is
you so much,
available
Krish.
now.
Hi, Chris. Thank you so
Okay.
much for your presentation. It's very insightful and very resourceful to us. It's good to know that so much effort and resources actually Renova actually put into the third-party security audit and also performing all the tests and especially coverage from zero-day attack. Thank you so much, Chris. So now you go to the very exciting moment, which is the Q&A section. So the first question is to our Chief Executive of NACSA. So BYOD is certainly not one-size-fits-all strategy, but it is important that government agencies have some sort of BYOD policy in place to both satisfy the need of the ever-growing technology for workforce and provide the protection needed to avoid costly security issue. So what will be the top 3 demand on the BYOD solution for our government, and how soon should this be in place? Sir, please.
Thank you, Vicky. Okay, as I mentioned in my remarks earlier, we cannot focus just on the policy. On the process part, I mentioned about people, process, and technology. So in our policy, we should govern all this. We look into the knowledge, education, expertise, awareness for the people. We should come up with actionable guidelines and policies, and also appropriate technology. Chris mentioned just now about the balance between security and performance. How we want to implement this policy gradually. We cannot, in my view, we cannot just produce or formulate a policy and boom, we enforce them to do it. We need to do it gradually. But we need to start somewhere. So mention how soon it should be in place. Well, as I mentioned earlier as well, that we plan to launch our strategy in March, and this BYOD issues is one of our priority. So we plan to complete in the 4th quarter of this year. But since this pandemic happened, we need to reschedule our planning, and perhaps I look at middle of next year or so. And in line with what Puan Hidayah mentioned, that we want to carry out our pilot project in DLP for the government next year. So we are doing together, and the policy we formulated together with the implementation of the pilot project.
All right. Thank you, Shisha. The next question is to Mr. Encik Hami for NACSA. Very interesting, very straightforward questions. What might our colleague not like about BYOD? How can we overcome this issue? They say, no, I don't want BYOD. I don't want to install any profile to my laptop or cell phone. So how can we overcome that?
All right. Yes, employees would normally actually resist any form of controls, especially when it comes to their personal devices. We don't like people or our employers to have control over our personal devices, whether they can wipe our data or know the location of our personal devices. But therefore, it is important actually to have an understanding with the employees that of their own responsibilities when it comes to handling organizations' data. Some of those data can be important, and some of them can be sensitive information. So they will need to commit to ensuring security and safety of their personal devices, and some organizations may actually take the step to actually subsidize in terms of procuring some of those personal devices for their employees.
All right. Thank you, Encik Hami. So the next question is this one. Move on. Okay. So the next question is to Encik Masha as well. What if our employee breach the BYOD policy sets? Can we or should we actually post any penalties on that?
Okay. Just now I answered your question that
Yeah.
we need to implement this policy gradually. It's unfair for us to impose penalties to them if they are not aware of it.
Yeah.
So knowledge, education, and awareness should come together while we have this policy. And for now, if there's a breach in government confidential information, we need to report to the police. Police will take action on that through the existing act. But for me, for us to formulate this policy, we need to be fair to our staff and first educate and awareness.
All right. That's certainly a good way. Yeah. It's just always not fair to penalty or actually say that you are doing the wrong thing without actually you're aware.
Yeah.
That's a good one. So we talk about issues today. We talk about some technology solution. I believe everyone here are clear. The question is how can we actually all to work together on this? We all know that every single good and workable policy does need input and support from stakeholders. NACSA will need to gather information and intelligence from stakeholders to come up with an actionable national policy. So please, if you are still up there, please key in your recommendation, your suggestion on the Q&A box so that we can have more information later on. So with this move that hopefully with your input that we will actually come up with a policy that will benefit the user and our country without compromising the security, which is the very important pillar that we are looking at. So please send in your constructive feedback and your recommendation, as we believe NACSA is eager to table this as soon as possible. As civil servants who have this task to ensure that all data is well structured and also secure in the name of national security, I personally salute all of you. It has been a great honor indeed for me to be part of this milestone. So before we go, any last message from all the panelists? Let's start from Puan. Any last message you want to tell our audience?
From Mampu, I would like to say that all the ICTSO need to play their roles in security in their organization. They are ICTSO are the main catalysts in the organization to comply with ICT security policy for the organization.
All right, thank you, Puan. How about Chris? Any last message? Any last message do you want to tell the audience?
Voice.
We have Chris, sorry, please turn on your mic. We cannot hear from you. All right, now my Chris, we come back to you short while. So how about Encik Hamid? Any last message?
Well, as Chris mentioned just now, we're not going back to the old way of working from the office of fixed place with new technologies such as 5G. I think we'll be seeing more and more people working away from the office environment. So I think this is a good time. If you have not implemented BYOD in your workplace, this is a good time to think about it and prepare so that when you're ready, the implementation of BYOD will not bring your own disaster.
Thank you so much, Jeremy. So I believe the next one I need to ask our Chief Executive from NACSA. We understand that we're going to launch the NCSS. There's so many events queuing right now. There are so many resources that we Tuan actually put in place to make all this happen. So any last message that you want to tell the audience?
Okay, my dear ICSOs. So again on MCSS, how we want to implement it, we want to implement it together. Lesson learned from how we manage COVID-19, how the whole of government, we can manage it very well through the whole of government approach. This is the approach that we're going to do in implementing MCSS as well. I know one or two of you that I knew have excellent knowledge in cybersecurity. So I welcome you to participate at national level, to be part of our team, to implement our strategy, so that we can do it together to secure our cyberspace. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Chisha. So how about Chris? Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I
Alright.
can hear you loud and clear. Yeah,
Okay.
fantastic.
Give us your last message before we go. Any
Okay,
encouragement or any more free gift or any more things to reward us?
Okay, so probably on a serious note, people need to view their data as their own cash. Okay, we are being entrusted by the company to look after your cash. So just like when you lose your money, you will make a police report. So please look after the company's asset well, because that's where it's going to be the next goal in the next century. So that will be my advice.
Thank you so much, Chris. Thank you so much that you'll be with us all this while. So I believe that it's the end now. As promised, we are now put on the questions on the screen. And remember, the top 2 best answer will get a brand new Lenovo laptop, ThinkPad. So the result of the winner will be published on NACSA Facebook page 12 noon tomorrow. You have 24 hours from now on to submit your answer to the email. And the answer can be in English or Bahasa Malaysia. So to the dedicated email showing right now on the screen. So the question actually is, what are the top 3 take-home from this virtual event, and how can it be benefit to you in empowering your service to Malaysia government? Please provide your full name, contact email, contact phone number, name of the organization, which means your agency or your jambatan and your current positions. So our next virtual event is in July. We will be discussing global zero-day markets, a very interesting topic. So stay tuned with us. Again, on behalf of NACSA and Alpine, we wish to thank you all for taking your valuable time off to witness this event with us, and thank you. See you again and stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
PKPB akan digantikan dengan Perintah Kawalan Pergerakan Pemulihan atau PKPP yang akan bermula pada 10 Jun 2020 hinggalah 31 Ogos 2020. Dalam tempoh PKPP ini, lebih banyak kelonggaran diberikan kepada saudara-saudari untuk menjalani aktiviti kehidupan seharian di samping mematuhi SOP secara berterusan. Sehubungan dengan pelaksanaan PKPP ini, saya menyeru saudara dan saudari semua untuk pakai aplikasi My Sejahtera yang telah dibangunkan oleh kerajaan untuk membolehkan saudara-saudari melaksanakan penilaian kesihatan kendiri. Aplikasi ini juga akan membolehkan Kementerian Kesihatan Malaysia mengambil tindakan yang cepat, tepat dan berkesan untuk mengenal pasti dan memaklumkan kontak rapat sekiranya berlaku kes jangkitan COVID-19 dalam masyarakat kita.